Hey everybody, Ryan Jackson here. Hope you're having a great day. So this is going to be the first of several videos covering Article 625, which is electric vehicle power transfer systems. So 625, of course, has blown up over the last 20 years or so, and we're seeing a lot of changes every 3 years, and quite frankly, the technology is changing faster than we can print the words on the book, right? 3 years is the development process for the NEC. 3 years is an eternity in an industry that's evolving as quickly as, electric vehicles and energy storage systems, things like that, energy management systems. So there's a lot going on here in Article 625, and I guarantee in 3 more years there will be a lot going on once again, because it is an industry that's evolving very quickly. So please don't get discouraged. I know it's hard when we just keep on changing everything every 3 years, but sometimes we kind of have to. So anyway, let's go ahead and get started with Article 625, Electric Vehicle Power Transfer Systems. 625.4, Qualified Persons. Electric Vehicle Supply Equipment, or EVSE, must now be installed by qualified persons only. All right, so only qualified persons may install electric vehicle supply equipment that is permanently installed. I have mixed feelings about this rule. When we install an electric vehicle supply equipment, I sometimes say charger. The charger is in the car, right? So the thing that we supply to the charger, the electric vehicle supply equipment, the EVSE, a lot of times when we install an EVSE, we have to do more than just put in a 30 amp dryer receptacle, right? 20 years ago when EVSEs started getting popular, for a lot of installations, that's all it was. You put in a 30 amp receptacle and then you wash your hands with it, right? Well, that's not the case anymore. A lot of times when we install EVSE, we're having to also install a power control system or energy management system. We're also having to adjust the settings on the EVSE because maybe we don't have the capacity to use this new 80 amp charger on a 100 amp service for the dude's house, right? So there's a lot more to it than simply adding a receptacle and plugging it in and walking away. So we do want qualified persons to make the installation. I get all that, and I agree with that. The problem I have is the definition of qualified persons is very problematic, because qualified person is defined in Article 100, and for a very long time it basically said that it's a person that has skill and knowledge relating to the construction and operation of electrical equipment. And then they changed the definition several years ago to try and coordinate with NFPA 70E, which is the standard for electrical safety in the workplace. In an electrical safety document, it makes sense that their definition of qualified person also talks about safety training to recognize the hazards and reduce the risk associated with those hazards. In the NEC, I don't know that that's the right language for the definition of qualified persons, right? And I also don't know that the intent of the NEC was ever to really tell me who installs things. I think the intent of the NEC was always to ensure that it was installed in a safe manner. And you would get extra credit for years if you had qualified persons, right? So we would make a general requirement, and then we would have an exception saying, well, if you're in a supervised industrial location and you have qualified persons, then you don't have to do that. You can do this, whatever this and that were. But that's evolved over the last few code editions, and now we're telling people that you need to have qualified persons to install various things, and especially given the current definition, I think it's problematic. And I also don't know how you enforce it, because if I'm the inspector and I go out and I look at EVSE that's been installed and I say, man, this is a great installation, it's perfect, this is the best installation I've ever seen, man, who did this? And the homeowner says, oh, I did it. Then I got to say, rip it all out then and hire somebody else to install it the exact same way that you installed it, because you weren't a qualified person, so that's a violation. You can't enforce this rule, right? I think this sounds good on paper. In practice, I don't know that you can enforce it, right? So I think it's a little bit problematic. But again, I am in support that people that know what they're doing need to be the ones installing this stuff, right? I mean, we look at this installation here. Some of these EVSE, they don't even run at 480. They run at 4160, right? They run at 4,160 volts. We're all going to agree you need to be a qualified person to install that stuff, right? So I don't want to sound like I'm against this rule. I'm not. I understand the importance. I just think with the definition of qualified person, I think this can be kind of difficult, right? So anyway, only qualified persons can install this stuff because it is more complex than just, hanging a piece of equipment on a wall, sizing a breaker and sizing a wire, and going home. It's a lot more complex. Adjustable settings, power control systems, all sorts of different things. We're seeing failures, right? We are definitely seeing failures with EVSE. So we need to make sure people that know what they're doing are the ones that are installing this stuff. We also add an informational note here that tells us to read NEC 413, which is the standard for installing and maintaining electric vehicle supply equipment, or other ANSI approved standards. So this is one of the NEC NEIS standards series. Full disclosure, I have not read this book, so I can't speak to how good it is. But the guys that write these standards, they're not idiots, right? They know what they're talking about. So if you want to learn more about installing EVSE, here's one book that you could read to maybe learn and figure out how to become a qualified person. There's also certification programs out there that you can pursue. So there's a lot of ways to step your game up in your knowledge of installing EVSE. So there you go, 625.4, the first of many changes in Article 625 that we're going to talk about. Some of them you're going to like, some of them you might not like, right? There was also one that did not change, that almost changed. We almost added GFCI protection for every type of EVSE that gets installed. That did not get past the approval process, so that did not change. If you hear rumors that you have to GFCI all electric vehicle supply equipment, those rumors are not correct. So 625.54 was not changed. All right, we're going to wrap this video up, and we'll head to the next one here in a couple of days. So hope you guys enjoyed this one, and be safe out there. See you next time.